Robert, we always, when we talk about debt issuance, and you would be going on non-deal roadshows, you will be meeting investors globally, and also when you do local currency, you are analyzing the types of investors that participate in the sukuk. Share with us your experience, first of all, with the offshore investors. When you go and visit them, and what do you get the sense from versus, say, for example, the conventional investors?
One of the questions is the seniority of the sukuk, but then we always stated very clearly it's the same with the conventional.
Yeah.
So that was from the offshore investors that I can recall. Other than that, I think maybe some of these investors outside, external investors, they are limited. But in my sukuk issuance, the U.S. investors is getting more important in allocations. In my last global US dollar sukuk, 20% buyers are from the US. So it's getting there.
Yeah, so they're interested.
Yeah.
And when you look at them in terms of their appreciation for Sharia compliance, is that a key requirement that they send to you, or are you seeing conventional anyway buying the sukuk bonds?
If I visit Islamic countries, Malaysia, Middle East, they are very appreciative that we are consistently issuing sovereign sukuk in local currency and in US dollars. So they're happy, and even in terms of global US dollars, I think Indonesia is one of the countries that are beginning 2009 consistently issuing global US dollar sukuk, except in 2010. After that, we were never absent. We always issue regularly, and I think investors appreciate it because then the curve is there complete, and they know we are coming, and we are quite diligent in doing investor update, telling them what is the status of our macroeconomic, and also where are the fiscal policy going, where are the monetary policy. Ministry of Finance is also from time to time presence in our roadshow, Deputy Governor from the Central Bank. So investors normally, they appreciate it, especially if they can talk directly to the minister at quite high level, Central Bank, so they know what is the type of commitment from the top level.
And then when you think about the domestic investors for your retail sukuk, what's your sense in terms of their appreciation of that instrument being Sharia compliant? Do you get extra kicker from that?
Last year we printed 21 trillion from sukuk retail. So we also can see that retail, regular people begins to like, they don't have any issue whether this is sukuk or conventional retail. They go for it. And I remember actually the request for printing last year for sukuk retail is even higher. And therefore this year, actually, one of the objectives from the Ministry of Finance, actually, financial inclusions to get more retail. Normally, we only issue two types of retail, sukuk retail and then the conventional ORI. But this year, we will issue 4 types of retail. One sukuk retail, one ORI, and then there's a saving sukuk, and then a saving bonds for the conventional, in order to increase more participations of retailer. Currently, when we issue sukuk last year, sukuk retail, I think close to 40,000 individual purchase the sukuk retail. This is part of educations for regular people to get involved in this kind of, not only in saving the money in bank deposits.
So, Pa Robert, when you look at the structure of the sukuk structure, there was a discussion around asset-backed and asset-based. How much of a challenge is that for you to launch sukuk and the types of collateral that you may require? Does that take extra work? How much time do you need to prepare for a sukuk?
We are lucky because currently in our budget, the government expenditures for infrastructure is increasing. I mean, last year we executed more than 200 trillion. This year, around 300 trillion, meaning with the current structure, project-based sukuk, project finance sukuk, and also the wakalah, where we can also put in 49% of our project into the global sukuk, it helps us. I mean, if in the budget there's a 300 trillion project, meaning there is the size that I can, outside the asset that I can use to back myself. So the government of Indonesia, after we develop wakalah, the project-based sukuk, project finance sukuk, we are not only relying on the asset-based. So I don't think we have issue with underlying assets. We just need more liquidity, more demand from investors, which we already get increasing domestically and outside. However, I must admit that conventional is still more liquid than sukuk. But I think there's a new future for.
Yeah, and when you look at the conventional versus sukuk in that respect, on that point that you raised, is there a liquidity premium that you face as a result of doing sukuk?
Yes, I mentioned before, in the past, the liquidity premium could be up to 40 basis points. Now it's getting less and less towards 10 basis points, which is, I think, this would be a sacrifice by the government to as a commitment to promote sukuk. I mean, this is an Islamic country.
Yes.
We're supposed to promote sukuk, and it is something, a necessary, what do you call it, necessary evil in order to promote sukuk. But we are getting there. Our objective or our goal later on, basically, I would see some in the medium to long term, conventional and sukuk in government issuance will be 50-50, 50%, 50%, and there will be no more premium because they are equally illiquid. That will be our aim.